Funny story that pop star Avril Lavigne sent a Vans employee over to his house to ask him out on a date. What's up guys, my name is Levi and this is Shred Shop, connecting you to skateboarding, and today we are covering 14 things you didn't know about Antihero Skateboards. We're going to cover so much about Antihero: the start, the team, the graphics that got them in some hot water, the logo, some art, and so much more. Julien Stranger. Julien Stranger is Antihero's elusive frontman. He's also one of the major pioneers for street skateboarding. Although his name might not be mentioned the same amount as say Natas or Gons, he has still solidified his place in history and he is well respected among his peers. In skateboarding, he's known for his amazing style. As well, it's good to note the iconic brands that he has ridden for: SMA, Underworld Element, Dogtown, Vans, and Real. He might not always be in the limelight, but you can see him regularly pop up with tricks in Antihero videos. The start. In 1994, Julien Stranger was having a conversation with Jake Phelps. It came up that things were kind of bland in the skateboard industry. At that time, Julien was riding for Real Skateboards, which was over at Deluxe, which was owned by Jim Tebow. He had a conversation with Jim Tebow and they decided that they want to start something up underneath Deluxe. And here we find Antihero. It's interesting to note that Antihero Skateboards was originally supposed to be called Rebel Yell Skateboards. At that time, there was no real brand concept they had for it. They really were just trying to balance out how boring things were in the skateboard realm. Todd Francis. Todd Francis grew up in Venice, California, skateboarding and drawing graphics on his friends' skateboards in the neighborhood. He goes and does an art degree at University of Santa Barbara, and then he tries to do a career in political cartoons before applying for a job at Deluxe Distribution. He said he got the job at Deluxe partially because he went to school and was friends with Natas Kopis. He worked his way up to head art director at Deluxe, which included Real, Stereo, and Spitfire. In 1996, he was put in charge of being the new art director for Antihero Skateboards brand. These are some of his drawings titled When Animals Rape. The logo. At the beginning of the brand, Julien had an idea for a board graphic. He basically just wanted a little pigeon that looked like it was standing on top of your back faceplate. He told Todd Francis that he wanted the pigeon to look really rough. He basically said, make it look like someone dumped a bucket of oil on the pigeon's head. They chose a pigeon as an icon because of its resilience. The thing is, pigeons are scavengers. They find a way to survive even when nobody wants them to. They felt like that was a good representation of the Antihero team. Over the years, the Pigeon logo has been ripped off and modified ever so slightly by streetwear brands and companies across the world. The next board graphic that Todd went on to design was the classic Eagle graphic, and that was so popular and so sought after that it became their official logo. John Cardiel. John Cardiel grew up in Half Moon Bay, California. One day, his mom surprised him. She said, go and fold the laundry, and hidden in that laundry basket was a brand new complete. In the early 90s, John Cardiel blew up. He ended up riding for Spitfire, Venture, and Dogtown. Another fun fact about John Cardiel is that at this time, he was a pro skateboarder and a pro snowboarder. In 2001, he lets out his legendary part in Transworld's Sight Unseen. He has had a monumental career. He was mentioned as number 11 in Transworld's most influential skateboarders of all time. He's been featured in EA Skate video games. In 1992, he won Thrasher Skater of the Year, and in 2015, he was inducted into the Skateboarding Hall of Fame. Tragically, in 2004, Cardiel was struck from behind by a trailer. He woke up in the hospital, paralyzed from the waist down. The doctors told him that he would never walk again. After 6 months of a stay in a hospital in Australia, he gets flown back to the United States to finish and work on his physiotherapy. After coming to the United States to continue his physiotherapy, he defied all odds. He got up out of his wheelchair, he started to walk again, and then he eventually started to ride a bike again. 4 years after being told that he would be paralyzed forever, he started to ride a skateboard again, and he even had an ad for Antihero Skateboards. He's still skateboarding, making music, riding his bike, and he owns a company called Break Free Customs, and you can even get him to make you a bike. The Eagle has landed. Todd goes to Europe on a skateboard trip with Element. He's touring around doing art shows with Matt Irving and Don Pendleton. One of his pieces at these art shows is the original hand-drawn Eagle Antihero logo. Todd said that he distinctly remembers Don saying, "Are you sure you want to bring this on this trip? This is like the Mona Lisa of skateboarding." At a super packed art show in London, later in the night, after everyone's kind of been drinking, someone comes up to Todd and tells him the eagle has been stolen. One of the locals at the show comes up to him and says, "I think I know who stole it." And he starts making a bunch of calls. They track down who took it. The guy feels bad for doing it, but apparently is scared to bring it back because he doesn't know what's going to happen. A few hours later, the eagle is back on the wall and Todd is shaking hands with the guy that stole it. Controversial skateboard graphics. Over the years, Antihero has been no stranger to controversy. One of the more famous cease and desist board series that they put out was the Eat, Crap, and Die series, where it featured a bunch of fast food and other gross stuff mixed together on the boards. These boards featured things like a rat taco or a dog balls burger, all mixed in with rip-offs of really famous fast food logos. It's interesting to note that they did an even gnarlier fast food series earlier on that never saw the light of day for obvious reasons. It featured a bunch of fast food mascots as terrorists, rioters, and CEOs. He tells this story in his book, Look Away, The Art of Todd Francis. If you can find this book, we highly recommend it. It's a good one. They also did the Nose Face board, which got them a cease and desist from North Face, the Disgruntled Employees series, where people were really mad about Bob Bergquist graphics. There was the Forever Young series, and then there was the Hilaron Ice board. And he drew this for a specific team rider, but this team rider said, "I can't put that out with my name on it," because he was afraid of being kicked off all of his other sponsors. The team. The Antihero team has always run kind of like a family. If a new rider wants to get on, everyone on the team has to vote yes in order for that rider to get on. Over the years, they've had team riders that include Andrew Allen, Tim Upson, Brian Sieber, Andy Roy, and Bob Bergquist. The 2022 Antihero Skateboards team consists of John Cardiel, Grant Taylor, Brian Anderson, Tony Trujillo, or TNT, Chris Fanner, Robbie Rousseau, Peter Hewitt, Frank Gerwer, Austin Canfouche, Dan Vanderlinden, and Jeff Grosso. 4 of their team riders have also had the honor of winning Thrasher Skater of the Year. John Cardiel in 1992, Brian Anderson in 1999, TNT in 2002, and Grant Taylor in 2011. Bob Bergquist. Bob Bergquist is a skater from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Bob came as a nobody from Brazil to Vancouver, Canada to skate in Slam City Jam. No one knew who he was, and he won everything. He caught everyone's attention, and soon after, they added him to the Antihero squad. If you ever get close to Bob Bergquist, ask him to take off his shirt. He's got an Antihero tramp stamp. Bob Bergquist is the most winning athlete at X Games Summer with over 30 medals. When he became sort of big and more corporate, Antihero decided and came and told him, "You got to find a new home because you're not fitting the brand well anymore." They basically said, "You can't ride for Toyota and Antihero at the same time." The most violent team manager of all time. For a long time, the team manager at Deluxe was ex-pro skateboarder Mickey Reyes. He claims to have punched every single one of the team riders in the face. At one point, he actually knocked Jim T's tooth out with a Swiss Army knife because Jim T stepped in the way as he was throwing it. There's an interesting story in a Chris Nyarko interview where Mickey Reyes and TNT actually get into a fight on an airplane. The altercation started by Tony told Mickey that he wanted him to move to a different seat because he wanted to lay down over the seat. Mickey rabbit punched Tony a bunch of times in the face before a stewardess had to step in. The fight escalated so much that they were forced to make an emergency landing. Witnesses thought that it was a terrorist attack and that the two guys were fighting over a shoe bomb. They both spent the night in jail in Detroit. Mickey has since mellowed out a lot and he opened a bar in Portland called the Cat's Paw Saloon. If you're ever in the area, go check it out. They even had a Nike SB collab. Antihero has let out a lot of notable videos. They let out Fricktards, Tucson, Cash Money Vagrant, Tent City, and a bunch of Beauty and the Beast tour videos with girl skateboards. Jeff Grosso. Jeff was a sponsored skater from the age of 14. He rode for brands like Powell and Peralta and Vans, and he later rode for Santa Cruz and Black Label. His career derailed due to substance abuse. He said in a Transworld interview that on 3 different occasions, he was pronounced dead on arrival to a hospital. In 1997, he started his journey to sobriety, and he really turned his life around. He said that he always thought Antihero was really sick, and in 2011, they welcomed him to the team. In the second half of his career, he started a web series called Love Letters to Skateboarding, where he candidly talked about skateboarding and its history. In early 2020, he tragically passed away. He's lived on by his son. He was loved by everyone that met him, and he was viewed through his web series as the voice of skateboarding. Recently, Vans has renamed the Skate Mid the Jeff Grosso Skate Mid. and all the royalties will go to his son. Deluxe Distribution. We want to take time to thank Deluxe for what they've done for skateboarding. Deluxe has always worked really hard to support independent skateboard shops. First off, Deluxe has never done direct to consumer. They've always done their best to drive sales to local independent skateboard shops. As a small skateboard shop, that's honestly helped us out a ton over the years. They've also done cool contests with us, like helping us build skateboard spots, and also doing shop collabs. With Antihero and Deluxe, and all of their talk of anti-corporation and all that kind of stuff, we can honestly say they walk the walk, they don't just talk the talk. So thank you, Deluxe, for everything you do for us, small skateboard shops, and for skateboarding as a whole. Skater Boy. No Antihero article would be complete without talking about TNT. With an over 20-year skateboard career, Skater of the Year trophies, and multiple pro shoes, he's really had an amazing run. A funny story is that pop star Avril Lavigne sent a Vans employee over to his house to ask him out on a date. When the Vans employee showed up to his house, Tony said, "That chick is so effing dumb." Needless to say, they never went on a date. If you know her music, I got a question. Do you think Skater Boy was written about TNT? Also, who'd win in a fight, TNT or Chad Kruger? Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Shred Shop connecting you to skateboarding, and you just watched 14 things you didn't know about Antihero.